We have challenges. I'm talking about on the right. We have major, major challenges ahead of us. You know this. This is not news. And I'm not trying to bring you down. But we have challenges when it comes to each and every individual issue, right? We're not gaining ground on issues that are significant to us for the most part. Especially culturally, we're losing ground. But I think it's always important for you and I to keep something in mind. The main issue we on the right have, the main thing we need to fix about ourselves is we need to figure out the mentality of the communists. We need to understand more than anything else how these people think, why they do the things they do, because the right has missed this boat for so long. So many people, friends and family of yours, they think wrongly about the left. The right thinks these things about the left, and they're dead wrong. The right thinks I can point out the hypocrisy and shame them. The right thinks I can call them the real racists, and that will somehow make them make adjustments. The right thinks the left looks at kids the same way the right does. I mean, how do you look at kids, especially other people's children? Oh, that looks nice. Hands off. Hope they're being raised well. Don't want to interfere in how anybody's kids are raised, so I'll mind my business. Hopefully those parents mind their business. Hands off. You must understand, as we go into this week in wokeism, you must understand they look at your kids as their property. As their property. They look at you as being in the way. You're an obstacle. They don't look at your kids and think, ooh, man, hands off. Hope he's being raised right. They look and think, oh, we need to get him. Ooh, we really need to get mom and dad out of the way first. Can't have them learning that. Why do you think there's been such an aggressive push lately to go after schools, putting this critical race theory nonsense in schools? Why do you think there's been such a push to go after not just television and movies, kids' television and movies? Huge movies, Pixar movies, all of a sudden introducing their first lesbian character. Went to a movie this weekend with my sons. I didn't know. Apparently I should have looked it up. One of the main characters, of course, had to be gay. Kids movie. They don't look at kids the same way you and I look at kids. And until we understand that about the right, about the left, until we understand they look at your kids as their property, we will never, ever be able to conquer them. I mean, Gonzo of all things. Everybody knows who Gonzo is. Guy's been around since the 70s. We all grew up with Gonzo. Granted, I think Gonzo is obnoxious, if I'm being honest, but we all grew up with Gonzo. Well, the left has just been obsessing over Gonzo's gender. It's really weird, which given that his voice is absolutely terrible, I can understand that. They're just obsessed about his gender. Well, I mean, this character who's been around for 5 decades, guess we found out his gender.
There you are. You missed our royal ball.
We met the most amazing princess. But they ran away, and all they left behind was this.
Everyone, there's something I need to tell you. The princess who came to your ball tonight was me. I'm Gonzorella.
But Gonzo, why didn't Vu tell us?
Because you all expected me to look a certain way. I don't want you to be upset with me, but I don't want to do things just because that's the way they've always been done either. I want to be me.
Understand this. When whoever the writers are sat down to write that episode, they sat down to write an episode, a kid's show, and they were thinking to themselves, how can I manipulate your kids into thinking insanely the way I do? It's everywhere now. It's everywhere now. And these crazy groups, Daily Wire has an article out. There's a lobbyist group called GLAAD, G-L-A-A-D. They're pushing network studios. What are they pushing network studios to do? To push the LGBTQ, I don't know how many letters there are now, nonsense, into kids' shows. Blue's Clues, My Little Pony, Arthur, and several others. That's why you've seen all this garbage all over kids shows like Nickelodeon. I can't stress this enough. They don't look at kids like you look at kids. They look at your kids specifically as their property. Oh, it doesn't stop there for this week in wokeism. It doesn't just stop with kids. California has a new bill. AB 367 it's called, not that that matters. Quote, states that access to menstrual products is a basic human right and is vital for ensuring the health, dignity, and full participation of all Californians in private life. The bill goes on to say that the taxpayer must provide menstrual products for transgender men. That's our biggest, most powerful, most important state, and they're completely insane. Now, in case you're sitting there saying to yourself, whew, glad it's only California. I don't live there. I'm never going to fund anything like that. Sure about that? You know that new bill, the new infrastructure bill, right? Roads and bridges, infrastructure, critical infrastructure, crumbling roads and bridges. You've heard all about them. The one, I think it was 17 Republicans voted for. Oh, I'm glad you asked. 2,149 pages the bill was. It makes a point to highlight gender identity as a protected class along race, color, and religion. But wait, there's more, as the saying goes. Remember how I've been telling you America has a credibility problem, a credentials problem to be specific? What do I mean by that? I mean, you see somebody and he's supposedly an expert in his field, right? We'll use a doctor for our purposes now, but let's say you see a doctor. You say to yourself instinctively, okay, dude probably knows what he's talking about. After all, he's a doctor. I mean, he went through a whole bunch of school and somebody gave him a bunch of certificates and stuff, and it says he's a doctor and he knows a bunch of medical stuff. Okay, understand that. But who's giving out the certificates? Who are the gatekeepers? I've used the example before, and I'll say it again. Does the driver's permit really do any good if it was from the Helen Keller School of Driving? Does it? The American Medical Association. American Medical Association, get this. They're lobbying to remove sex as a legal designation on the public part of birth certificates. The board chair-elect said, quote, designating sex on birth certificates as a male or female and making that information available on the public portion perpetuates a view that sex designation is permanent and fails to recognize the medical spectrum of gender identity. This type of categorization system also risks stifling an individual's self-expression and self-identification and contributes to marginalization and minorization. That's the American Medical Association, not some tiny wingnut group. Again, I'll go back to who's handing out the credentials to all of our credentialed experts out there. Hey, thanks so much for watching the first on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me, like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.